The moment we stepped into the restaurant, I knew something was off. Julia's friends were already there, laughing too loudly, leaning into each other with those knowing smiles that made me feel like I didn't exist. The smell of roasted garlic and bread filled the air, but I barely noticed it. I was focused on her, on the way she tilted her head and let them mock me with every whispered joke, every giggle that felt like a dagger. For the first 3 minutes, I forced myself to act casual, sipping my drink, nodding at their stories, pretending everything was normal. But inside, a storm was brewing. I could feel it, the anger, the betrayal, the humiliation, but also the thrill of what I had planned. Tonight would not end quietly. Earlier that week, I had discovered a secret she never meant me to know. Julia had been careless, leaving her phone unlocked, leaving traces of her lies behind. I had installed a recording app in our living room weeks ago, capturing everything she said when she thought I wasn't listening. Every whispered secret, every joke about me, every cruel little plan with her friends. All of it recorded, hidden, waiting for the right moment. And tonight, surrounded by the very people who encouraged her, that moment had arrived. I placed my phone flat on the table, sliding it just under the edge of the napkin so no one would notice. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. Not yet. I waited, watching her laugh, listening to her friends mimic my supposed flaws, mocking the way I always sat quietly, the way I never interrupted. Every word, every gesture, every sly glance she threw in their direction was fuel. I pressed play. At first, it was just faint murmurs, whispers I could barely hear over the din of the restaurant. Then, unmistakably, Julia's voice emerged. "He'll never know. He's too blind to see." And then came the laughter, the confessions I had never heard before. Secrets about other men, plans she thought I'd never discover, jokes about how I was weak, invisible, irrelevant. Her friends froze mid-giggle as the recording spilled truth into the air, and I could see the panic begin to rise on Julia's face. Every second stretched into eternity. The room felt smaller, the light harsher. The more the recording played, the more I saw their carefully constructed little world crumble, the smirks fading, the casual laughter turning to whispers of disbelief. Julia's eyes were wide now, and she opened her mouth, trying to deny, to plead, to manipulate. But the recording continued, every lie, every betrayal laid bare for everyone at the table to hear. I let it continue. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to make a scene. The truth was louder than I ever could be. And as her friends turned to her, shocked, horrified, disgusted even, I felt a strange satisfaction, the kind that comes from letting someone else's arrogance destroy them. Minutes passed. Julia's hands shook. She tried to reach for my arm, to whisper excuses, but I pulled away. Calmly, deliberately, I gathered my jacket, slid my chair back, and stood. "There's nothing left to say," I told her, my voice low but cutting through the stunned silence. Her friends didn't know whether to comfort her or avoid her gaze. And Julia, she realized in that instant that everything she had built, every secret, every lie, every carefully hidden betrayal, had exploded. I walked out, each step echoing in my ears, and felt the weight lift from my shoulders. Outside, the night air was cold, sharp, and cleansing. I had expected rage, confrontation, yelling, but this silence, this quiet destruction, was far more powerful. The humiliation, the fear, the shock, it all belonged to her now, and I had orchestrated it flawlessly. As I got into my car and started the engine, I thought about the freedom I felt. Not just freedom from her lies, but the liberation of knowing that truth, patience, and timing could be more devastating than any confrontation. Tonight, Julia would never forget me. She would never forget her friends. She would never forget the night her carefully constructed world turned to dust, and it would haunt her every single day. Because some truths, once revealed, cannot be undone. Some betrayals, once exposed, leave scars that no apology can heal. And some people, well, some people learn too late that you can't play with fire without getting burned.